What's good? We got to tap into another Larry Bird video. 45 minutes of Larry Bird stories told by NBA legends. Let's tap in.
With it up to Bird. Theus is back. Larry spins through a crowd for two.
Hey guys, this is Dominique Wilkins. Hey, this is Sean Kemp. This is Gary Payton. Hey, this is Pau Gasol. NBA fans, what's up? This is Vince Carter here. Hey, what's up? This is Matt Barnes. If you're an old school NBA fan like I am, make sure you check out the Basketball Time Machine with my man Sean Davis. Hello, good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Basketball Time Machine. My name is Sean David. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk some old school NBA basketball. For the past 6 years, I've been covering Larry Bird, and I told you many times that he's my second most favorite player of all time. And I also had a couple of NBA legends explain Larry Bird story videos. And I thought, there are so many classic stories that some of you guys probably never seen because I posted them like 4 years ago, but I also found some new clips. And I always wanted to have this extra large video about Larry.
Yeah, man, you pretty much learn something every day doing these Larry Bird videos. Like, you realize, like, how he was more than just a jump shooter. Like, he had, like, an all-around game. And he was, like, that first stretch big for real, But people don't really acknowledge that or pay attention to even know that about basketball. They just, all Bird could do is just, a jump shot. He was like a lot more than just a jump shooter, Like, he actually had an all around game. That's like the underrated part about his whole game. Like, he could do everything on the court, and then he was a winner. And then, see, when he got hurt, imagine if he didn't get hurt. Like, he could have easily dominated the 90s as well. Like, he would have had Jordan a run for his money. Like, that's what I think. But y'all let me know in the comments.
Simple fact, lying in bed, listening to the stories, just let your mind wander and listen to the greats speaking about the greats. And yeah, so this is what's going to happen in this video. But before we start with that, let me ask you guys for a small favor. If you like the content, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I would say,
I'm sick to my stomach at how lazy some of y'all are. I can't believe y'all be ignoring the state handing out $5,000.
Subscribe to the channel, and I would say, let's take a look at Larry Legend. Now the first stories that we're going to take a look at are, obviously, you have trash talk stories, you have some funny stories, you have some mind-boggling stories, and some stories that you can't believe that a human being actually did that. So let's take a look and give it a start.
Larry Bird, to me, it was so much fun playing against him because he talked so much shit. The story goes that when he played against Denver, they had a guy named John Hanslick. They put him on Larry, and Larry was weighing his ass out. And Larry would run by the bench and tell Doug Moe, who was the coach, get him off me. That's disrespectful.
Yeah.
Like, what's disrespectful?
Yeah.
He says, it's disrespectful for y'all to put a white guy on me.
Yeah. Bird was a savage for real. He's right to feel like that because, he worked on his game. He's going to feel insulted because he, like, this white dude couldn't even guard me. Like, really nobody could have guarded Bird, when you supreme, have confidence, and you that guy for real, of course you supposed to feel like that, Or unless you're a Pee-wee square, But of course you're supposed to feel like that, man. Bird was really him for real. He gonna feel like nobody could guard him, And nobody couldn't guard him. He was a stretch big, could do everything on the court, and he had a jump shot that was hard to block. You know what I mean?
I love it. Put a black guy on me. That's why he gives Coop so much. he still says to this day, Coop is the best defender he's ever played against.
Wow.
Really?
But he was like, you disrespecting me by putting a white guy on me.
I feel you.
But that's Larry, because when he played back in the day, that's all he played against was brothers. So he was like, don't put no white guy on me, that's disrespect. So, when he did that, he said, I had to torch his ass so they understand.
You ain't gonna see him
Get
again.
him off me.
Yeah.
But that was Larry Bird.
I think the story that sums up Larry the best was back then when we flew commercial, we didn't fly private. We played in a Tuesday night game in Cleveland. And of course, we got up for the first flight out. We had a game on Wednesday night in New Jersey. Snowstorm hits Cleveland. We're at the airport at 7 in the morning. Flight's canceled at 7. It's canceled at 8. It's canceled at 9. It's canceled at 10. Canceled at 11, 12. We finally leave about 1:30 or 2 in the afternoon. We fly up to New Jersey. Now the storm has kind of moved into Jersey. And the bus driver says, well, I can't get to the hotel into the arena. I can only go to one place. Well, we had a game that night. We go to the arena. So we get to the arena, and I mean, we're dragging. And we're sitting around the locker room, and, and everybody's kind of, we're tired. And, and all of a sudden, the coach gives a little bit of a speech of, come on, man, guys, we're playing basketball. Let's get ready to go. And Larry stands up, and Larry says, a couple other few choice words, and he says, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to take it out on their rear ends. So I was like, oh, all right, so let's go. So we go on the floor. Elbert King sitting there. Larry walks up to Elbert King and goes, don't take this butt whooping personally. I've been eating hot dogs all day. And then Elbert King looks at him like, you've been eating hot dogs all day? What's that got to do with me? And we went out and just hammered him. I mean, we terrorized them. And that was Larry. There was no excuses. I mean, he just played. And I tell you.
I mean, he was a competitor, you know what I mean? He was about winning, you know what I mean? He wasn't about nothing BS, you know what I mean? Like, he wanted to tear your ass up on that court, you know what I mean? And looking at it and hearing it from stories that players that played against him or with him, you know what I mean? There was no friends on the court, you know what I mean? Like, it was really trying to compete and tear your ass up. You know what I mean? That's one thing I respect, because nowadays it's all buddy and, oh, I got to go team up with you, and, oh, I got to go kiss your ass on the court. Oh, it's friendly competition. Back then, it wasn't no friendly shit. You know what I mean? It was all competitive. You know what I mean? That's what today's NBA, it loses today's competitive. You know what I mean? Back then, it was way more competitive and way more physical. You know what I mean? That's why the games was better back then, because it was priceless and classic. You know what I mean? Today's, it's like cupcake and soft, and you can't ever do nothing in today's NBA, because it's all titty tack, pussycat, softness, and today's game.
That was just his competitive nature. But a day when you fly all day and eat hot dogs in the airport, best thing was Elbert's look on his face like, what hot dogs got to do with me?
the game he played against the Lakers, the first year that the Celtics won the World Championship with him on the team, and he was ridiculous. He killed him. Remember, our sportscaster played the Superman theme when he was talking about him that night after the game, because he did everything, points, rebounds, assists, just steals, you name it. Larry has such a great mind for the game, and a great touch. I had a lot of respect for him as a competitor.
I remember sitting on the bench watching Kevin McHale and Larry Bird, and Larry Bird did something. To me, I'm still marveled at this. And he got so many people. It was a timeout. And one of our teammates, Boy Kofold, had a camera. Right. He's taking pictures. So Larry Bird came over there and looked at our bench. And he said, 3-pointer. From right over here. So I'm sitting over there looking like,
dang, that man talk smack, and he let you know what he's going to do, and he backed it up. Man, come on, man. He was a bucket, and then he was the real deal for real. Come on, man. Karl Malone is saying this, man. Come on now.
that's Babe Ruth. Calling your shot already, right? Yeah. So Isaiah, I'm sitting there looking. He looked down at the floor. Hell, everybody looked down at the floor. He like he threw something. And he hit a three.
Oh, can you believe that?
And I remember Kevin kind of looking over at the bench like it's going to be a long night.
One of the all-time greats, one of our heroes that we watched and competed against, and brilliant basketball mind. But you remember the story when we for some reason, we were in the layup line, and Reg and I, as the captains of the team, I don't remember what we had to go back.
People are not going to believe this.
I don't remember what we had to go back and talk to Larry Bird about before the game. 20 seconds on the clock, we're getting layups. Reg and I jog off the court, go into the back. And what do you take it from there?
So Jack and I, we go back into the locker room and we're like, where's Coach? Where's Coach Bird? And they're like, oh, he's in his office. We go to his office. He's not in his office. We're like, the trainers are back there. We're like, hurry up. We got to get back out to the court. Like, where is he? And then, you know what? It even might have been, God rest his soul, Slick. Slick says like, go check the shower. So we head back to the shower because, we had to ask him this question. Before we got out there, we go around the corner. Larry Legend sitting in a chair. He's got a pack of Newport. Just smoking away. Oh, what you guys need? We're like,
Damn, Bird had Newports. Damn, I didn't know that. Shit. But he probably whooping ass so much, he needed a new pack, Damn.
we're good, Coach. Don't worry about it, right? We're good. We're good. He's like, all right, I'll see you guys out there in a few minutes. Look at Jack. Jack looks at me. He's like, maybe in there smoking a Newport? Right? We're like, this is Larry Legend. Did y'all ever bring it up to him?
No. And it's documented the worst first half that a starting back has had.
Oh my God.
I couldn't make a shot. We were mentally gone. I hear what we just witnessed affected us.
Now, mind you, remember now how we look at Larry Bird in our eyes. Number one, we played against him. I patterned my game after Larry Legend. Being from Riverside, this is the mid-'80s. Of course, it was Lakers-Boston. That was the rivalry. And you had to pick sides. So, we were Laker fans. But I patterned my game after Larry Bird. I wanted to know how he worked out.
No, but that's real, though. He acknowledged he patterned his game after Bird. Because he could shoot. He was like a stretch big. He had an all-around game. Bird really paved the way for a lot of the players, But see, he don't get credit when it's due because, he played in the 80s and this and that. It was more physical. And a lot of those players in the 80s could have easily dominated today's era, And today's era is so cupcake and so soft. They could have easily adapted to that, Like, come on, man. Like, I respected, like, pretty much Reggie Miller acknowledged he patterned his game after Bird because that's real. That's how you got true respect for the players that paved the way back then to what today's NBA is about. Like, that's the ultimate respect.
How he approach games, his trash talking, all that.
Playing at the Garden, man, on his last leg, we're playing him, and he told me, young fella, let me tell you something. I can shoot a jumper anywhere I want to. And he said, you supposed to be a great defender, right? He said, I'm going to make sure I tell you where I'm going to shoot the ball at. And I was like, man, come on now, you're not going to shoot the ball. And so he said, I'm going to take you over in that corner right there. You sit over there by my bench, right? And I'm going to give you something, and it's going to be this jumper. And I said, shit, watch this. So all of a sudden, we playing, and I'm D'ing him up, and he slow ball me. That's where I got the slow ball. Put your back to your back just like this, and his back was bad during this time. So he went right to that corner, and I'm up on him, I'm under him, and he said, young fella, what did I tell you I was going to do? And he turned around, raised up, we looked around, it was all drawn. And I said, shit, I ain't going to mess with you no more.
I spent the last couple of days with Magic Johnson shooting the Capital One commercials.
And every time I see him, I tell him thank you.
Krispy Kreme as Charles Barkley. Krispy Kreme ass, head ass boy.
Because Magic Johnson and Larry Bird are the two most important figures in NBA history.
I agree.
That's a fact. You know what I mean? They paved the way for what the NBA is. You know what I mean? And at that time, they was the most iconic players ever. You know what I mean? And at that time, they was dominating the 80s. You know what I mean? They was winning, and you know what I mean? It was just very unexplanatory. You know what I mean? Like they basically dominated the league at that time, and then it was the real deal. You know what I mean? Like they won championships and everything. And that was before Jordan became Jordan in the 90s. You know what I mean? Like even Jordan back then couldn't even mess with them in the 80s back then. You know what I mean? Come on now.
I don't know how this is gonna play with America, right? but let me just tell you what this dude told me one time, right? Now, all back line at one time was Kelly Tripucka, Bill Laimbeer, Kim Benson, 3 white dudes.
2 of them I ain't have heard of.
Okay. All right. So we walk out on the court, and he said, "Who guard me?" So Larry used to always call me Cheesy, right? He's like, "Cheesy, who guard me?" And I was like, I got Kelly, got Lem, I got Benson. He's like, "You ain't got no brothers?" He's like you. He's like you.
Disrespecting me.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he said.
I mean, he gonna feel like that. He gonna feel like that because, I mean, it's like an insult, you know what I mean? It's like hitting your face at that point, like, why you got that white boy on me? You know what I mean? Like, you gotta get that brother on me, you know what I mean? You gotta put that real, you know what I mean? Because you think about it, you know what I mean? The black people was dominating the NBA, you know what I mean? It's basically all black people that run the league for real, you know what I mean? Like it was really barely any white players, you know what I mean? So, and if it was, you had to be cold enough to even play in the league, you know what I mean? Of course you're gonna feel like that.
He said, "Hey man, you can't put no white dude on me. That is straight disrespect."
I remember him, he was cursing under his breath. And I asked him, I said, "Larry, what's going on with you?" He says, "You guys are being disrespectful to me." And I says, "What are you talking about?" He says, "You guys are putting a white guy on me." That's disrespectful.
Wait, who's the white guy you put on it?
I can't remember who it was. I just started laughing. I had no comeback when he says, "It's disrespectful when y'all put a white guy on me." And I'm sitting there like, I'm laughing in the middle of a game.
It was my rookie season, my first game I ever played against him.
What'd he say?
That was the only thing. I can't even tell you what he said.
Clean up the language. What?
One of the things, the first thing, I think really the only thing he said to me, I'm guarding him. It's my first play. He's coming down the court, and I'm guarding him. He looks at me, he said, "I don't know why they have you guarding me, Holmes." And he shoots the 3. Now, I wasn't upset he made the 3. I said, "This son of a gun just called me Holmes." But it was funny because after that, because they knew I was going to keep coming, But that was the only time he ever talked trash to me. And then we had a lot of respect for each other over the years. And so I never forget that one thing, though, man. I'm like, I was so hot,
Can you believe filling out a 2-minute form ended up getting me a $5,800 spending card? I know it's...
And I remember he was at the jump circle, and I go shake Larry Bird's hand. He put both hands behind his back. I'm like,
oh, man. It seemed like this video about to have copyright claim, man. I really hope it don't, man. I hope it don't.
You know what? Maybe he just getting into the game,
I'm trying to give it the benefit down. I was so mad, so I'm coming down the left side, and I go up the fast break, and he comes out, and I'm pumping it behind my head, and he jumped. I said, I got him. Boom. He's sitting down on the ground. I'm pointing like this. He said, hey, Rook. I'm like, what? He said, I like you. You got balls, but I'm still getting 40 on your ass.
You know, and it's funny because I tell a whole lot of people this when they talk about great players and they bring up Larry Bird. I said, listen, the dude couldn't jump, wasn't fast, but wasn't athletic. Mm-hmm. But you look on the score, the score sheet after the game, he got 25, 15 rebounds, 9 assists, a few.
Yeah, he did everything on the court. You know what I mean? That's what people don't talk about. You know what I mean? The ones that don't know the game, don't even know how to even touch a damn net on the damn basketball court, on the goal. You know what I mean? Like, they don't know shit about the game of basketball. You know what I mean? Because that man could do everything on the court, man. I'm telling you, you know what I mean? I'm like, this man was an all-around player, you know what I mean? And it was like unguardable. And then he did everything. He hustled on the court, you know what I mean? He could pass. I mean, like, his game, it didn't seem like the most, you know what I mean? I'm very athletic and all that, but he got the job done. He was a winner in that day. A lot of players can't say they was winners. Come on, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I said, the dude just knew how to play, right? And the thing that I loved about him is that he was a shit talker. And I wish you would have got a chance to play against him, Robert, because I swear to God, you'd have loved playing against him because the dude would just tell you where he's going, shoot it in your face, talk shit to you, and run back down the floor. Yeah. And he was just one of those guys that, he just had it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he had it, and I saw it in college, and obviously saw it a whole lot closer when we get a chance to play against the Celtics. He was the biggest trash talker back in the day.
It's a birthday for a legend in the league. Larry Legend, 61 for Larry Bird.
Yes.
Who's got Larry Bird stories?
Brad Daugherty told me this story when he was second year in the league, and they were in the playoffs against the Celtics. Down one, Larry Bird catches the ball in the deep corner, and he steps back for a three. And before he takes the three, he's like, oh, wow, he's going for the win. He's not going for the tie. And so Brad Daugherty runs out, and he head fakes him. And as he head fakes him, now it's 3-2. He hits him on the butt with the ball, and then he shoots it at the buzzer. And the confidence that hit him on the butt as he flew by him trying to block a shot, I'm like, there's no more confidence.
I wasn't around long because he was hurt when I was playing that first year or second year. But I just remember one quick thing. We were playing against him, and I think I stole the ball from him. And I just remember him turning around saying, you little piece of... And I was like, that, to me, that was Larry Bird. And I was so happy because I'm like, that Larry Bird told me you're a little piece of... You know what I'm saying? Because I idolized Larry Bird.
Yeah, Bird was trash talking your ass. But at least he acknowledged you on the court. You know what I mean? When he was talking his junk. But I'm pretty sure it was competitive. You know what I mean? It was the competitive thing about it. You know what I mean? Like nowadays, there's nothing competitive about the NBA. You know what I mean? It's all cupcake and soft. You know what I mean? Back then, it was like way more competitive, and you wanted to tear somebody's head off. You know what I mean? Like, and it was like in a competition in a sense. You know what I mean?
You do a very good job at editing yourself on that.
Just talked about Larry Bird.
Oh shit, that's the main shit. He's like your Magic, your Kareem, once in a lifetime player, franchise changing player. That's the category that Larry was in. And not to mention, I like the way he led us as a team. He wasn't in your face, talking trash to you. He led by example. No matter how poorly you playing, Coop, he never got on you. Only thing he would say to you, try to pick it up if you can. You had one of them nights, things just not going your way. He always spoke.
You heard that? He said lead by example, you know what I mean? He led by his actions, you know what I mean? He didn't have to do all that rah-rah and all that clown ass shit, you know what I mean? Like, he was actually about standing on business. He worked, he put in his hours in the gym, you know what I mean? He backed it up. He would just say, pick it up. You know what I mean? Pick it up because we need y'all. We need you to pick this up and catch on. You know what I mean? Because I'm about winning. You know what I mean? Like my legacy on the line. You know what I mean? Of course. You know what I mean? And he worked on his game. He was the main guy on his team. You know what I mean? Come on now.
You know, with encouragement. You never try to put players down. I always respected it about Larry.
You know, he can come into this because I heard he was good at this. Biggest and best trash talker. I don't think anybody talks shit to you. But Scotty, who would you like? Who were the ones that, whether they were good at it or not, like who were the ones that were just keeping Gabber the whole time?
The truth is, behind closed doors, the P word became my secret sin at age 10.
I mean, Gary Payton talked a lot. But in my era, probably Larry Bird, you know, he would talk trash and do something tricky.
Question we ask everybody who come on the show is, when you first made it to the NBA, who was the first person to bust your ass?
Man, I'm going to keep this real with you, man. My ass got busted real early, man. I came into the league, man. I was playing. You know how some of them vets, man, they play you to the team, man. I got played down in Boston one night. We was playing Boston Celtics. So the great Larry Bird, I didn't really know much. You know, I'm from Indiana. Larry's from Indiana. I knew about the history of Larry, but I didn't realize how he really got down. When we got to Boston that morning, I knew something wasn't right. I saw an X-Man, and he was limping around the court a little bit like he was sore. I figured he'd be all right, you know. Xavier McDaniel. I figured he'd be all right by that time. I go to the game on the early bus. I get there. They come out on the court. They say, "Hey, Sean, you starting tonight against Larry." And I was like, I'm all for it, though, you know. So the X-Man, he didn't play. He had a sore knee. But my point to you is this: Larry gave me 50 3/4.
Yep, he welcoming you to the league. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, man. Larry Bird, man, he was a bucket, man. Like, put 50 on his ass on a rookie. Yeah, man, that's like nothing to be explained, man. That's how you know he was cold. He was a bucket, you know what I mean? And he welcomed you to the league. He pretty much sent you to the league for real.
Oh, my. He was hitting everything.
And he talked to me the whole entire game.
What did he say?
Well, first of all, he asked me to jump ball. He said, "You the cat that broke all my records in high school, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." He goes, "Yeah, you the one that used to dunk my brother too, right?" Like Eddie. And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." He said, "I got you tonight." So every shot he was calling, at the defensive end, he would tell me, he'd be like, "When I get down to the other end, I'm going to pump face you, get a hand wall on you, look at you, pull off the glass." That's how cold Larry Bird was. And that's the
that's one thing. Like he talked his trash, but he backed it up. You know what I mean? And you couldn't do nothing about it. Like, see, that's what today's game missing for real. I mean, but ain't nobody could even do it better than Bird if you really think about it. No, but that's the ultimate respect, though. You know what I mean? At least he paid homage to Bird.
Like, people say that he was one of the dirtiest trash talkers, one of the best trash talkers. Like the one game he played and told him, "Don't shoot all left-hand buckets on you." So he really talked like that.
You know, so, being from the streets, man, I was to the point of like, look, I'm going to foul him so hard that he's basically going to take his will. He started shooting the ball with his left hand, man. When I was trying to foul his right arm, he was shooting with his left hand, banking it off on me, looking at me, still slapping me on my butt and everything, man, telling me everything.
Now, see, that's something that he didn't hit you. He didn't hit you on the butt. Nah, I got to fight you.
And then Larry, he actually invited me to his house that summer after the game, man. He told me, he said, "That's the best defense I've seen so far, the best effort." I get that.
Because you still competing.
50 and 3/4, but that was the best effort I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, that was the best defense, but you couldn't guard me. You couldn't do nothing against me. You know what I mean? Come on now.
He come to the house and shoot around with me. There's something I show you how to shoot the ball, young fella.
Larry Legend. Straight up.
I think the sport, and compared to today, there was trash talkers back then, but it was done in a kind of nicer way. I remember my rookie year, but I didn't guard him. Larry Bird. We played him in the Boston Garden, and I was in the paint, and somehow the ball was swung around. Larry had caught it, and I was running out to Larry Bird, and you know his famous motion. He just kind of shot it as I was running out. He said, "Too late, rookie." You know, too late, rookie. And obviously it went down, and I just shook my head and ran down to the man.
That was like your introduction.
That was my intro to the league. Like, welcome, rookie. You know who I am, Larry Legend. That's who I am. Too late.
Disrespect. This
Yeah.
ain't nothing.
Ooh, he let you know, and he lit your ass up. He said, "Welcome to the league, rookie." Damn. I bet, but he let you know who he was. He was on business for real on that court.
Yeah. So I said, let me see what he can do. But Larry had something that most white boys don't have. Just say that. Just keep it real. Man, Larry different now. Larry different now.
A little bit of nigga.
Yeah, he was different now. Larry different now.
That boy, he can play, man. He turned it out. We played on a team in college in a tournament together. This is the first time I ever sat on the bench. Him and I were on the bench. And we were like, the guys in front of us wasn't better than us, but Kentucky head coach was coaching the team, so he started 3 guys from Kentucky. So we said, okay. But when we got in the game, we turned it out. But I saw this dude eat Jack Givens up. He was player of the year that year.
Kentucky, right?
Yeah, from Kentucky. And Larry Bird was just slicing and dicing him. And I said, oh, I called home. I said, it's true about this boy. I was calling everybody. This dude can play.
I always thought of myself as a very, very confident player.
Yeah.
But Bird especially, and I mean, had a whole nother level of confidence than I ever was able to accomplish and achieve. But he just gave you so much confidence. Like you could depend on him. You could just see like his confidence, and like everybody just like added to everybody else's confidence.
How was it when you first met him? Like, what was that interaction like, and getting to know him?
He was great. I mean, he was a worker. We played a lot of one-on-one, full court, like half court, full court basketball, just, in practice every day. I got to know Larry really well, but he was a great worker, a great teammate. He told me, like when he didn't think I was taking a good shot, I tell people all the time, when they start complaining, the coach doesn't believe in me, or the star player on our team doesn't believe in me, I go, bro, when I played with Bird, he'd pass it, he'd get double teamed, he'd throw me the ball. But if I miss 3, I'm not coming back to me. You got to earn those shots. You do. You got to earn the respect of your coach and your star players all the time.
I mean, you gotta earn it because he put in his time. And he showed it on the court. He worked on his game. I mean, of course, of course you gotta show your best player you really want to be on his court with him. You know what I mean? Because if he putting his time and energy in the gym, and he was showing it in games and backing it up, if you got the supreme confidence for him, that means you gonna have confidence in your game. You know what I mean? Of course, because Bird was cold, man, like real cold, to a point that nobody could guard him or do anything. You know what I mean? He trash talk, but he backed it up. Like, you know what I mean? Today's NBA, it's like they don't even do nothing even close to that.
You got to earn that respect. Every game you got to be reliable and dependable. And that was what I loved about Bird.
Everybody talk about how Bird, his trash talking is legendary. As his teammate, what was it like the first time you saw, or can you give a story, him telling somebody, I'm about to come off this screen? Because we didn't have Worthy on here, and Worthy he said, I'm about to do this, that, then he come right off and do it.
Well, I mean, Larry was a quiet guy, and he wasn't like a loud and obnoxious personality, but he had a great sense of humor, and he was a character. And most of the time, his trash talking, it seemed like it was for motivation. It wasn't like he was just always trash talking to everybody. It was spotty, but when he did it, it was big.
Right.
I'm going to, is Xavier McDaniel's story where, I'm going to shoot it fake here, shoot it there. And he did exactly. And it had nothing to do with the play call.
Right.
Like our coach would call timeout and we're going to do this. And we walk on the court and Bird just looks at me and goes, no, give me the ball right there. And then he does what he told McDaniel he was going to do. I saw playoff games where, we're trying to exploit a matchup. Mikhail's having an amazing game against Milwaukee. I remember in Milwaukee. And so we're running a post up for him against Marcus Johnson. And so I set a cross screen for Mikhail. Comes in the post. I come off a down screen. And I look up. I go, he ain't passing the ball. He's just holding the ball, like looking at Mikhail in the post like this. And then, boom, just shoots the three and makes it. But, he really wanted to motivate himself. But the most uncharacteristic one was he didn't usually trash talk to, like, Magic, Dr. J, guys like that. He just, he had so much respect for them. But I remember the big fight between him and Dr. J where Moses and were holding him back and Dr. J was swinging. It was like so uncharacteristic of Dr. J. As you guys know, Dr. J, I mean, he's the nicest guy in the world.
Definitely.
But Larry had scored like 35 on him like halfway through the third quarter and was just jogging back down the court and said, man, you need to retire. And it was just like,
damn, Bird said that to Dr. J. Damn. I mean, but shit, if you put buckets on him and he couldn't guard you, he couldn't do what he used to do now. Come on now, you know what I mean? It had to been some facts in there. Like, you kind of got to get your ass up and out of here now, man. I'm putting that work on your ass on this court. I mean, I respect it, though. I really do.
Dr. J lost his mind, and that's where that story had started.
One of the biggest trash talkers that you'll ever see in your life.
That's what I want to hear about.
More trash on the court than anybody. He'll tell you where he's going. He'll tell you when he catches it. There's nothing you can do about it. He was, and it was great trash talking because it wasn't vulgar. I mean, he wasn't, pounding his chest. You can just be standing next to him. I would jump out and try to block a shot on rotation, and he'd say, Scott, you're not getting that. Why are you even jumping? Why are you running out?
So as a youngster, can you guys, starting with you, Paul, think of players that you didn't like growing up? Or even teams.
This is very ironic. Does it have to be basketball?
It could be any sport. It could be boxing. It could be baseball.
I was a avid basketball fan, and growing up in Los Angeles, Inglewood, down the street from the Forum, I couldn't stand the Celtics.
That is crazy, right?
I hated the Celtics so much.
That makes sense.
You understand the rivalry? I hated Larry Bird. I hated just everything about the Celtics. So it's real ironic that I get drafted by the Celtics. Going to be up there with all the great Celtics. Larry Bird's probably be one of the most important players that ever played in this franchise. And just to be up there, have your name up there with him is a great honor.
To me, even until today, one of my favorite stories is the left-handed story. I'm pretty sure most of you guys know that story, but this to me is the perfect example of what 80s and 90s NBA basketball was all about. That cockiness, but always backing it up. I remember when I still used to play, it was always so funny when you had guys who were trash talking but could not back it up, and it was like, why are you even talking? But to hear the stories, and you hear those stories from like every player on the planet that played against Larry Bird.
No, I mean, the 80s was all about, the Birds, the Magics. I mean, Moses Malone, Dr. J, Kareem, you could round down the line. Like, there's a lot of players, man. Bernard King, like they made it back then what it was, and really they paved the way for what today's NBA is all about, but they don't pay homage because they look down and do all that clown stuff for no reason. Like, come on, man. Like, and even legends and former players that played with Bird, like, they actually acknowledged him because they had respect for him, and he backed it. He lived it up. He was that guy for real. It wasn't just all talk. It was his game showed action. Your game speaks actions louder than words.
That he was always able to back it up, and that just shows what a sensational player he was. Let's take a look.
Changed by the coach. He's installed Jerome Kersey in the starting lineup.
Well, he's put a tiger in the tank. He feels that Jerome Kersey is going to give him some aggressiveness, particularly against Larry Bird.
Jerome Kersey's guarding Larry. I think his first 8 or 10 points were left-handed. And at that point, Mikhail was still coming off the bench, and so we score. Larry scores his 6th point on some kind of left-handed shot.
Bird against Kersey.
Hey, yo, I am almost crying right now because of this gift I just got in the mail.
And Mikhail goes, "Hey, Jerome, when did he start shooting right-handed?"
Needs for Bird, another three-point try.
Well, left-handed is one thing, but when the game got close, I had to go back to the right one. I think it went right down the wire, and we might have won by 1 point.
Can't beat you right there. You got to keep them under control. They don't. And the Blazers have timeout with 3 seconds remaining.
His ability to just bring it out every single day. You know, he could outscore you. He could out-rebound you.
Bird kept it alive to Walton for 2. What a play!
He can pass better than you. He can defend better than you. He can lead better. He can dribble better. He can set up plays. He can be the decoy. He could do it all.
Bird lines up three-pointer. Yes, Bird's last three-pointer, so he tries another one.
Well, you had the Bird night.
I had the Bird night. Yeah, that was a tough night, man. You know, the biggest argument that night is, well, you only scored 6 on me.
But nobody was guarding Bird, were they?
Well, we were trying.
You were trying to.
But when a guy is literally coming up the court, calling his shots, and, you know, Bird talked a lot of trash.
And that's in New Orleans.
That's in New Orleans. In that game, we're on the free throw line, and he literally says, left side across the 3, and you're listening to him. That's a tough feeling.
But okay, so you guys got.
I mean, that's how you know that man has supreme confidence in his game. You know, man, he gonna let you know, and you couldn't guard him. I mean, yeah, that man was unguardable. You know, man, at that point.
Antoine Carr and Cliff Levingston got fined by Fratello, I think,
and Eddie Johnson for celebrating
Bird.
Yeah, it was the best film session. Every time when I see Mike, we still laugh.
God,
it was the greatest film session ever, because back then you didn't have, you know, you watched the real game and just went, you know, with a video, and Mike rewound the celebration 20 times. He just kept not the shot, he just kept rewinding it, showing the guys. You remember they're giving each other high five.
And then somebody falls off the bench.
Yeah, that was Eddie Johnson. Yeah. Eddie Johnson falls off the bench in laughter, and Antoine Carr and Cliff gives each other high five. And our film session was 20 minutes of that. So it
wasn't somebody not playing good defense on Bird. It was you guys celebrating Larry Bird.
And Fratello wouldn't let it go. He just kept rewinding. And it was.
I think Bird went by the bench one time too.
He fell in the bench.
Yeah, he did.
And he called that one. That was the one where he fell in it. He literally said, "Off the glass into the trainer."
Did you ever get yelled at by Jordan or Bird?
Bird was the only one that really kind of, in his soft-spoken way, when we talk about guys talking trash.
Yeah.
Hey, Rook, good to see you. Hey, great college career. I'm going to catch the ball. I'm going to pump fake. You're going to reach for it. You're going to get fouled. 2 tweets, you're going to have a seat. Lord the whole day, and he catches the ball, and he pump fakes, and I go for it. I reach, first foul. I come down court. Scott Skiles kicks me the ball. I shoot a 3 in your face, Larry Legend. Yes, I'm feeling good, man. He catches the ball again, catches it. My dumb self reaches for it again. Tweet, go have a seat. I see you second quarter, Rook. So that's how Larry Bird.
Speaking of shooting threes, Coach, we had a poll question on here. Just to let you know, I had nothing to do with this poll question. I'm going to let one of the Danettes, McLovin, ask you this question because he's been dying to ask you this.
Okay, if you had to bet a week's pay, who would win a three-point shooting contest, Larry Bird or Reggie Miller?
Now?
No.
In their prime.
By the way, you won, just to let you know. You won it.
Come on, man. It's going to be Bird. You know what I mean? He already won 3-point contest. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Like, you know what I mean? Bird. I feel like Bird going to end up beating Reggie Miller any day of the week. Come on, man. Put him against any of these 3-pointers, shooters. You know what I mean? Man, come on, man. Like, you know what I mean? He would dominate. That was his bread and butter for real.
Here's how I'll put it, Reggie. If you was my teammate in the pros, I would win hands down. But since I had the great opportunity to coach you,
I'd say you win.
Oh, okay. Look, I'm just letting you know. I picked you. It was a dead tie, 2-2. I was the tiebreaker. No question. You at the 3-point competition, walking in the locker room. Who's playing? Did you really say that? Who's playing for second?
Yeah, I did. I was so bad because I didn't realize there's so much tension on it. I'm out there every day in front of these fans. And
who were some of the guys? Who were some of the guys in the competition at that time when you walked in? Who was in that field? Come on, Coach. You know.
No, I don't really remember.
Dale Ellis.
Yeah, Dale. What's
Hodges.
The kid that's Hodges.
John Sonfold.
The kid that's refereeing now. The one that always
Lester.
Leon Wood. Leon Wood never crossed the 3-point line. All he did was always shot threes. So I thought he might be the competition. And because I've seen him shoot before games, and he'd knock him down. So when I walked in there, he's sitting there, and I said, "Boy, them red, white, and blue balls are so slippery, I can't hold on to them." And the next time I came, I said, "Okay, now they're down to the nitty gritty. Who's coming in second? You already know who's going to win this."
I mean, Bird was a savage for real, but I mean, he backed it up though. Like, I mean, he was letting you know, like, ain't nobody was gonna win. You might well come in second. You know what I mean? Come in second, be happy you here, and then go sit your ass down in second place. I'm going to end up winning. You know what I mean? That's the supreme confidence he had, and he backed it up. I mean, he was him for real. You know what I mean? Come on now.
And I got lucky because I almost got beat in the first round.
But what was the reaction after you said that? Like, oh, that's just Larry Legend, or did it get dead silence in there?
It was silent.
My favorite trash talking by Larry, and Kevin was a pretty good trash talker too, but Larry was when they trash talk coaches, like when they trash talk Hubie Brown, and they're sitting there and playing in Madison Square Garden, and he's just going like taking the ball out of bounds in front of their bench, so the whole bench can hear him, right? And go like, "Hubie, this all you got for me tonight? Like, you got no one else that can guard me? This is getting ridiculous, And then Hubie would put in like Johnny Newman would be running in the game. He goes, "Wait, are you serious? That's the guy you're putting on me." But it was those subtle things that he said that were just, I mean, they were so funny, but we loved it. But even the other bench, even Hubie's team in New York is like laughing at Bird's trash talking.
I was the first guy really to guard Larry. And I remember I was like you, I was a king of the mountain.
Y'all heard the news? The southern border down in Texas is still wide open, and then migrants are rolling in. And guess what?
First guy really to guard Larry. And I remember I was like you, I was a king of the mountain, man. I was averaging about 20 and 10 when Bird got here. So I'm thinking he's coming to this building. I'm looking at him, but we have the first practice. I'm thinking like, this ought to be a piece of cake. Guy don't look fast, don't look good. I'm about to do something to him.
Indiana.
Boy, I'm telling you what, hey, it changed my opinion about racism in this world. Because I remember he scored the first basket, Jet, on me. I scored on him, second basket. But as I proceeded, he kept going further and further and further away. By the end of the practice, finish. The first black person I went to, I said, you know what? That fucking white guy can play down there.
A favorite Larry Bird.
I mean, he lit your ass up, and he let you know, Maxwell. Yeah, I mean, but at least he kept it real though. At least he kept it 3 million.
Story.
I don't tell Larry Bird stories.
Do you tell Michael Jordan
Larry
stories?
Bird. Larry is such a unique personality. I don't have necessarily stories on him. What challenges me is I marvel at people who think the guy is a hick. Larry is one of the smartest, pragmatic people I know. And my mother, God rest her soul, was very bright. Coach Knight and Bill Russell are probably the two brightest people that I know. Larry is maybe right under that in that category. And when people keep talking about him being a hick, Larry understood what he understands as well as anybody is personalities and people. And that's why he would do his junk talking for airing here on radio, because he understood people who would let that bother them and what they would do when it bothered them. That's the way Larry, that was his gamesmanship. So that's really the only story I can tell you about Larry. I just think he's one of the brightest guys that I know. So that's my story on Larry. What else you want to know?
Well, okay. Didn't we talk about this before when you guys played the Chicago Bulls first round of the playoffs? And you guys went out. It might have been you and Roby, and you went out with Bird. And the Chicago Bull cheerleaders bought you beers, figuring that they could get Larry drunk. And then Larry lit them up and then walked off the floor and walked by the cheerleaders and said, "Thanks for the beers."
I didn't tell you the story, but the story is true. that is very typically Larry.
Okay, all right.
He knew right away. He knew what was happening. He knew right away what was happening. And again, okay, so we talk about motivation. For Larry, that's another motivation for him. So he can have that in his mind. So when he walked off the court, he can let you know, hey, you can do whatever you want. Doesn't make a difference to me.
I love that.
But that's Larry.
I love that. That he knows that the cheerleaders are buying him beers, and then he just thanked him for the beers after I think you guys eliminated the Bulls.
He was a trash talker?
Oh, to other players.
Okay.
My.
Bob, give us a couple of stories of him talking trash. I was going to say.
Oh, my goodness. One thing you got to give Larry Bird, he could be red hot or ice cold. He never stopped talking trash. Ever.
I got one, Coop.
Great story. Playing the Phoenix Suns. And their main man was Tom Chambers. And Chambers was guarding Larry.
Larry Bird with a left-handed hook. Watch how he comes up on the other side. Two-handed. Nail the rebound to Bird. Nice. Back to Paris. Nice. Pick and roll. Hardison had it. Lost it.
And so in the jump ball circle, Larry walked through myself and Chambers, and then came back and told Chambers, I know you're guarding me, and I want you to know something. There's only one man that can guard me, and that's God. Now think about this.
I mean, but he kept it real, though. Ain't nobody could guard him. I mean, that man was 6'10", basically stretched big. That damn near do anything. You know what I mean? He had a jump shot that was hard to block. Like, you couldn't block that shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, like, come on, man. Like, I mean, but that's a buck. That's he keeping it 3,000 right now. He keeping it real. Like, come on, man. Ain't nobody could guard Bird. You know what I mean? Come on, man. That man was unguardable for real.
For a second. Think about the confidence and the arrogance it takes to make that
There's
statement.
someone that's very important to both of us. Larry Joe Bird. When I was a young child, I would pray to a Larry Joe Bird poster before I would go to games.
Can you say that again?
I would pray to a Larry. It was a Legend poster. You know the poster Legend?
Of course.
And he's got the basketball. He's just standing there, not an action shot. I would pray to it. I would say, Larry, let me get some buckets tonight. And then I would leave the house. But I was playing in Western Massachusetts. You played for Larry Joe Bird in the National Basketball Association. I think it's another level. It is different when you're in the...
Just a little bit.
Yeah, it does. Just a little bit. I've got an update on Larry Joe Bird. An artist named Muck Rock wanted to do a tribute to Larry Bird in Fountain Square in Indianapolis.
I like that name, Muck Rock.
So they made a mural. Problem is, they tatted up Larry.
Whoa.
And we had to blur out some of it.
Was that a 76ers tattoo?
We had to blur out some of it.
Got a Marcus
because they had fornicating rabbits on his arm. So you know what happened? Larry Bird don't play.
Tats on his face.
Sent the lawyers.
Tattoo tears.
Sent the lawyers. The lawyers said, no. You got to take the tats off. So the artist had to redo the mural with the tattoos off. What do you think about Larry Bird having his lawyers remove the tattoos from the mural?
It comes with the territory. I mean, here's a gentleman that's been for public consumption for as long as we've been alive and has kept a pristine reputation. Has done so very much in the community. Obviously, he's a legend across the world, but especially in Indiana. And so when you see that, it's a mix of culture and playing for Larry, following Larry while he was in the league, he's not saying take the tattoos off because he doesn't want the artists to express themselves. He's saying take it off because he doesn't want people to ever think that he's trying to represent something that he wasn't.
Okay.
And so
Exactly. That's a good point. You know what I mean? Why would you put tattoos if the man he never had tattoos and he don't want to be represented like that? You know what I mean? That's a misreputation of Larry Bird. You know what I mean? That's kind of like being disrespectful at that point. Like, that's kind of whack even doing that. Do it without the tattoos, not with the tattoos on them. You know what I mean?
in being around him long enough, I'm pretty sure that when he saw it, he was like, all right, that's probably not the representation that I want to have out.
Jalen, I love Larry so much. I will never, ever, ever tire of hearing Larry Bird stories. When you were playing for him, did he ever yell at you? Yeah. What would he say? Get back, Jalen, get on D. Oh, he expected you to play defense? Yeah. Hell, Jalen. It seemed like all he heard my name was on defense. Offense, he didn't call my name at all. On defense, I heard my name a lot. Did he ever give you a compliment? No, but in all honesty, like the B1000, okay, Larry was the guy that helped validate me. My career needed to be refreshed. It needed to be remixed. I played 2 years in Denver. First year, fortunately, I broke their rookie assist record. Second year, we made it to the playoffs. That offseason, I got traded. Third year, Indiana, Larry Brown gave me 15 DNPs. And he's a Hall of Fame coach that left. So now it's do or die for me as a young player. So when Larry Bird talks to the media, it was like, I'm going to turn Jalen into the player that's going to live up to his potential. Yep. I cut that out and put that on the refrigerator, bro. I'm like, I'm about to own it. So coming off the bench for Larry and then being ushered into the starting lineup, Rick Carlisle, I got to owe him a lot of credit for my development, along with the vets I had on the team like Reggie Miller, Mark Jackson, Chris Mullin, the Davis boys in protecting me, my brother Travis Best. So again, Larry Bird helped revitalize me to the point where now I'm eating all of the steak and lobster that I ever want. I'm traveling across the world. You would think Magic Johnson go to Italy and spend $10 million. But I can go to Italy and spend $150 if I need to. You know what I mean? So, question for you. What's Larry really like? Like, what's his personality? Because we hear a lot of different stories. Well, Larry is like the commercial E.F. Hutton. When he talks, people listen. It's not a waste of words. He could have dealt with Twitter at 140 characters. He didn't need it to be 180 or whatever it is now. And so being somebody that was straightforward and honest is the best thing you want as a professional. Hey, Jacoby, you working really hard. I am. But this matchup doesn't work for you.
Well, tell me, when you watched Larry's game, Smitty, what it was that jumped out at you that has him held in such high regard throughout the NBA?
Well, I think, Ernie, like we all know, it's a tough decision with those three unbelievable players. But just to talk about Larry, for me to see the guy who can shoot the basketball, but then also be able to change his game up, but to do whatever he had to do to win.
And then you got that arrogant, cocky Larry Bird, trash talking all the time. And was he really arrogant? Was he really, really arrogant? Well, yeah, he can back it up. So when you're arrogant and you can back it up, you're not arrogant, you're just good. And Larry was good. And but
the best guy I played against might have been Larry Bird, something like that.
How good was
Michael
Bird?
Jordan.
I don't think people look at him and think, oh, he's a white guy, slow guy.
He's a chubby white guy. He wore us out, because he this muscle here, the one between his ears, that was his best, because he made the 3-pointers and he had assists and rebounded, steals. He was always at the right place at the right time.
Listening to a game, it's New Mexico State playing Indiana State.
But that's like the ultimate respect. Your peers is paying respect and homage to you. Like that's like the ultimate respect. You know what I mean? That's how you know you had game for real and you was really him on the court, you know what I mean? When your peers really like have respect for you and they talk highly about you, like that's like the ultimate respect, you know what I mean? Nothing else really matters at that point. Like that's how you know he could really play this game of basketball But see, today's NBA, they don't even acknowledge him. Like, that's crazy.
I don't really care about the game, but New Mexico State is right up the streets from El Paso, and I went to UTEP, and we're big rivalries. So I'm hoping that Indiana State will beat New Mexico State. And I'm listening to the radio, and I have no clue of the players on either team. All of a sudden, this name keeps coming. Bird. He goes to the right. Bird. He makes the shot. Bird. I said, God damn, who's Bird? Bird. You know, here's Bird. And Bird this, and Bird, oh, did you see the pass that Bird made? I can't see it, but I'm just trying to imagine it. When the time I got to the end, I said, damn, that brother can play. When I got the newspaper the next morning and saw Larry's picture, I said, damn.
One of the greatest players in our generations, you know, Larry Legend, Larry Bird, says every time anybody talks to him about, you know, guys that guarded him back in the 80s, who was the best, he doesn't even hesitate to say Michael Cooper was the best defensive player that he ever played against. What do you think about that coming from a guy like Larry?
Of all the accolades that you could win or awards or anything like that, that's probably the one that I cherish the most. But what I always tell people about that is you guys, you, Magic, Worthy, Kareem, I was only as good as you guys were giving me my help. Larry got by me several times, but you were always there, B. Scott. Magic was always there. So it was like me and you tag teaming on these great scores. The job that I did wouldn't have been great without you guys, my teammates.
You know, to me, it's just super sad that because of the fact that I was born in the early 80s, I only got to see Larry play like 1 or 2 seasons when his back was broken, and he was still a very effective player in basketball IQ off the charts, but obviously some of the physical attributes that he had were gone. And just to imagine that I could have seen him play for real, maybe be in the Boston Garden and all those kind of things, it makes me so sad, you know? Obviously, I'm grateful that I still had the VHS tapes and I was able to see reruns of certain games, but to see him in the Boston Garden, I mean, every one of you who had the chance, I am so jealous. I am so jealous because even until today, when you have players or journalists saying that, for example, Luka Doncic, who's a great player, don't get me wrong, comparing him to Larry Bird, but to me, I could seriously, literally see genius, basketball genius in this man. And
Larry Bird just had that IQ, you know what I mean? He really had like that basketball IQ for real, you know what I mean? He was a winner, you know what I mean? Luka, I mean, he went to his first NBA Finals, but Luka's not a winner in the NBA right now, you know what I mean? He still got a long way to go. Bird was a winner, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Then he had an all-around game. He had basketball IQ, you know what I mean? Bird, he could shoot the ball, but see, he could do other things on the court. You know what I mean? He could impact the game and do other stuff. You know what I mean? You can't be no one-dimensional ass player. Like, you got to do a variety of stuff on the court to have an impact. That's what he did.
for me personally, for example, it's super hard because my only outlets, speaking about those things, is my YouTube channel. I unfortunately don't have too many people around in my area or in my network that actually go that deep and go.
But y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Let me know in the comments what y'all think, and I'm out.